All right. Hey, what's going on? I'm back today with a video. I think it'll be a pretty quick one, but at any rate, I just got finished doing my first ever cold calling session, and I had to share the experience because it I feel like I have to. And also just for myself, it's helpful for me to document these things. And so, yeah, today was my first time ever doing cold calls. I only called four places, but it's my first time. But at any rate, I called 4 vein clinics, and I called them to pitch my AI software to their clinic to help them reduce no shows and also to help them, boost their patient consultations and stuff. And so for those of you who don't know, vein clinics are like, if you've heard of, say, like USA Vein Clinics or Vein Clinics of America, these places treat common things such as like varicose veins. So you may have seen people with varicose veins or spider veins or what have you. So these clinics treat those kind of things as well as like venous disease and insufficiency, lack of blood flow throughout the veins. And so yeah, I have a background. If you're familiar with my channel, you'll know, like, yeah, I have a background in the medical space as a vascular ultrasound technologist, right? And now former vascular ultrasound technologist and now software engineer. And I don't think I've shared this on my channel before, but I myself have gotten treated for varicose veins. So I myself have gone through the whole symptoms, signs and symptoms of like just really intense leg pain. That's what I had that just was like crazy. Like I couldn't even take like 1 step, let alone 10 steps. Like it was bad. Um, and so yeah, I myself have gone through the treatment of getting treated for that. And my legs don't feel like nearly as heavy. They don't feel even heavy at all. Felt like literally like I was carrying bricks is like what it felt like bricks like on my leg, on my ankles, every single step. So I got treated for that, and it's been a game changer, right? So my whole my whole mission, just real briefly, for like leveraging software engineering, like getting into this space, is to like not get further away from like my healthcare background. I want to bridge those two together. And I feel like the AI software, which is what I'm pitching to these clinics, right, is to help them boost their consult, right? Boost their consultation rate. So to get new patients in the door, get them booked, help automating that booking process, and just helping them to also like reduce their no-shows and cancellation rates. And so yeah, I cold called 4 clinics today, 4 vein clinics, and I was so excited to do this. Like it's my first time, right? And I was really excited to do this. I don't have like a script per se, like not really. And I think at the end of the day, I have like a rough kind of version of one, but I didn't really go through and like finalize what I'm saying and all of that. I really wanted to just pick up the phone and just like show up naturally, show up organically, and just show up as myself and just see what will happen. And to tell you the truth, I was like so excited to just get into the cold calling part that I really didn't even want to take the time out to have a script. I just was so excited to just start dialing, honestly. And it's a battle, like it's a numbers game for sure, but that doesn't deter me. And I wanted to just like start dialing. So I'm so excited to do this, to be doing this. So yeah, I called 4 vein clinics today to pitch my AI software to them, right? And of those 4, I got two people that did answer, and then 2 where I I just got the voicemail, like nobody answered, so it went straight to voicemail. But of those two that did answer, like one of the front desk representatives, right, she picked up and she answered, and I basically told her, I asked for the physician, right, the guy who does these procedures, and I told her I want to learn. Hey, this is my name, right? I'm calling for so-and-so, Dr. So-and-so, and I'd like to learn, about the pain points that he has experienced as far as acquiring new patients at his practices, because he has two. And genuinely, honestly, really just like want to know like what the pain points are that he's experienced, and like, I have this AI software, and it's devoted, it's designated for clinics just like yours. And, I'd like to learn more about the bottlenecks he experiences in his day-to-day, operations. And perhaps, like from that, we can see if I believe I have some value I could offer him. But, from that, let's see where that conversation leads. And that lady right away did not waste any time to let me know. She's like, yeah, I could tell you right now that the doctor will not be interested in anything like this. Like, she did not waste any time to just get to the point like that. And you always know those kind of things are gonna happen. So she was like, yeah, we've already done something like that and it didn't go well, so I could tell you right now, like, he's not interested. He's not gonna hop on the phone. He doesn't do the luncheons and this and that. Try again. She told me, try again in 6 months. And yeah, that was something, ironically, that caught me off guard, the 6 months part. But I'm like, I'll reflect on that later, because it could be like maybe the fiscal year is resetting, or maybe they're doing like marketing budget, resetting the budget for marketing or what have you, or probably just like fiscal year, end of year stuff, and things are resetting. And like around this time of year, around July. So, at any rate, like total like, nah, no, obviously. But still, like, me being me, as curious to learn about why it worked. I wanted to know, like, what was this other agency, or what was this other AI specialist, whoever it was, whether the company, whoever it was, what were they offering and what didn't work, right? I want to make sure I set myself apart, and by knowing what didn't work, what their pain points were in that process, will help me to have more information as like, to present as like, I could use as like leverage and set myself apart. But long story, well, not really long story, but at the end of the day, she basically shared that they did meet on a weekly basis, and the doctor just, they didn't really see any results. It sounds like she basically said like it just didn't work, and it was a waste of time and all of this. So basically, they've been burned before. And you're gonna run into things like this, and you're gonna run into people who have been burned in the past. And at the end of the day, you have to either, it just comes. I think it just kind of comes with the territory, right? And so you just have to like be ready for things like that. So that's gonna happen, and I'm not gonna necessarily. Obviously, you're not going to put all your eggs in one basket. So, like, I'm not going to wait 6 months just for that one client. And at the same time, I'm certain if I could get a hold of the doctor himself, like, I can, if I got a hold of the doctor, I feel like, we could talk in more detail, and maybe I could hear a bit more about those pain points and stuff, versus like from the front desk representative, right? So, but it's good to know, and you just note those things. You note that down, I feel like it's not a no, it's just like no for now. But at the end of the day, it's like that's just one out of like a ton of other vein clinics that are in my city, in the state, in the nation, right? So there's so many more out there, but that one was the most exciting. And then honestly, the other person who picked up at this other clinic that I called, she basically told me like, oh yeah, Dr. So-and-so, like he's in the mornings on this day, like it'll be better around this day, call around this day, around this time, and you'll have a better chance of reaching the doctor. So it's like, all right, cool. Again, make a note of that. And I have, I'll follow up on that. I'm actually gonna do that and see where that goes. So, yeah, and then the other two, those aren't no's, and those aren't even no's or yeses. Like those, again, I left voicemails, and so they'll call me back, which I don't bank on that. They might get a lot of calls like the ones I'm making, so I plan to just follow up with them in another like day or so and go from there. But yeah, in my voicemail, I was essentially just said, again, my name, the name of my company, and I shared with them, like, again, like wanting to learn about their pain points, right? Because at the end of the day, I think like that's really what it's about. Is it's like, in real simple terms, it's just, for me, it's like it's really about seeing like how can I help provide like some value and some knowledge, right? So it's like, maybe we don't end up working together, but if I at least have a better understanding of like what the vein clinics are up against, these that I'm calling are up against, like that'll help me so I can help a potential client down the line, right? Eventually I'm going to get someone who says yes, And so at that point, and along that journey, I'll just continue to gather information and gather more and more information, and just note like what is really like a bottleneck for these clinics. And I have my ideas, and I know what I know based on like my experience in working in these vascular centers and in these vein like clinics and stuff. So there's that, but there's always like, I haven't been doing that for like 6 years now, and there's always like something to learn. So at the end of the day, it's like, how can I help? Right? It's like, how can I help them? So I want to learn about like what's troubling them, what's giving them the headache, or what might be keeping them up at night. What's like the biggest burden? What can I help to alleviate? What can I help to alleviate, and all of that? And see if we could like partner up together, and yeah, and that's basically, it's like just forming a partnership. And so it's cool, like I actually finally am here to this point where I get to bridge that gap between like software and like healthcare, vascular ultrasound specifically, kind of like just bridge that gap. And it's awesome. Like, it feels like really cool. It feels like really good. So I'm like, I'm here, I'm doing it, and it's happening. So yeah, my first time making cold calls, my 4 cold calls, and I think it went very good. So I'm excited to keep going, and I will get a yes eventually. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one.